Hello, welcome or welcome back to the YarnNYarns YouTube channel. My name is Angela and all the places you can find me should be linked in the description box below this video. Here on the channel you'll find me chatting about my adventures in knitting, spinning, crochet and weaving, all of the fibre related things. Today's video is day 9, I think, of my 12 Cast Ons adventure 2025. Now, I'm sounding a little unsure because yesterday I got it in my head all day. I went through the whole day thinking I was working on project number 9, but in fact I think I was working on project number 8, so it's scrambled my brain somewhat. But I'm pretty sure today is number 9. I am full of head cold at the moment, as you might be able to hear in my voice, and you have to excuse me if I have a bright red nose. It's just miserable. Yesterday I felt like I was getting better. I've had this cold for about a week, but today I've woken up and I just feel 10 times worse. So there's that, which is adding to my ability to not think clearly. My brain is not functioning at full capacity, but to be fair, that seems like a standard status of being at the moment. It's kind of the norm, so I don't even know why I'm mentioning it. Welcome if you're new to the channel. If this does happen to be the first video that you're clicking on, the 12 Cast Ons is a make-along that I host every year, or at least for the last several years, whereby I cast on 12 new projects between the 24th of December and the 31st of January, with the idea of getting some yarns in use, some patterns on the go, things that I've had in my stash or in my queue for a while and just haven't got round to. And by starting them all at once, I hopefully set myself up for my coming weeks, months, years worth of making. I don't really mind how long these projects take me to complete. I'm not someone who worries about how many works in progress or hibernating projects that they have hanging around the house. I know that's not how everyone likes to work, but I'm completely okay with that. For the last several years, the folks who have become part of this wonderful community that surrounds this YouTube channel have been joining in the cast ons with me, and some people cast on the full 12 projects, some just start with one. If you're a monogamous knitter, you are most welcome. We all work in different ways and I love that we all do that. Once we've finished the cast on portion of the make along, we then try and spend the rest of the year finishing as many of our projects as we can. For today's project, I have completely pivoted from what I was originally going to make. I was going to cast on another sweater project, but I just can't wrap my brain around following anything more than a simple pattern today. I really am very foggy headed, but because it is Sunday the 19th of January today, I'm rapidly running out of free days in which I can cast on. And although it's a self-imposed goal and it doesn't really matter if I do it or not, I really do want to try and get all of my projects on the needles before the end of January. I scrapped my original project plan and took a trip up to my craft attic and was hunting around for a bit of inspiration. I thought, I don't know what I'm going to cast on today. I know I don't want to do the project that I originally intended. Let's just go try and find some yarn or pattern inspiration. My first thought was to cast on a sock project because I can knit socks in my sleep at this point, but that didn't really appeal to me. I've cast on a big sock collection as my first cast on this year, and if I tried to attempt anything other than a vanilla sock, I run into the same issues as if I was following a pattern for the sweater. I quickly discarded that idea. As I was rummaging around, I found some handspun yarn that I hadn't packed away. I've been rooting through my handspun quite a lot recently because particularly in this second half of my cast ons this year, I'm using a fair amount of handspun yarn. I found this collection of yarn just hanging out on the floor by the plastic tote where it should have been packed away. These yarns are all started life as fibre from Hilltop Cloud, a fibre producer here in Wales, and it's their Cambrian base, which is a Welsh based yarn, so it's mainly made from Welsh mule fibre. Hilltop Cloud have a seasonal collection often of this base of fibre. It's called their Cambrian base. And a little while ago, I bought one of the selection packs. I also had some of the undyed Cambrian base as well. So I spun through the dyed fibre and spun through the natural fibre and then decided to apply them together. So I made myself this collection of marled yarns. And originally I thought I might use them in some sort of sweater yoke or something, but that always seems to be my default for my hand spun yarn. When I spin it up and I don't know what to do with it, I kind of throw it into the storage tote and think, oh, I'll probably put that into a sweaty yoke at some point. Yeah, this morning I saw these. They were hanging out, as I say, just in a package on the floor, calling to me. I've decided to cast on a cozy canvas neck warmer, which is a pattern by Hey Brownberry at Marceline Smith. And this is a relatively new release. I bought the pattern straight away because it's perfect for any type of yarn. Let me just read you the little intro that Mars has written for the pattern. So she says, the longer I knit, the more I learn that every project has its place and every maker has the freedom of choice to find the perfect match. Do you have some precious single skeins in your stash that have been waiting for just the right knit? This is it. Or how about the magical hand-spun hanks that you've created that are waiting for their time to shine? That time has come. Welcome to the Cozy Canvas Neckwarmer. Your adventure begins here. The clue's in the name, right? Cozy Neckwarmer. And I feel like I need a cozy day because I'm just not feeling great. How many times can I tell you that? This mulled yarn is giving me cozy vibes. And I just felt like it would be the perfect match for that pattern. The pattern does say that it's a choose your own adventure type pattern. So it's basically a recipe where you can throw any kind of yarn into the mix. And you can make the shawl as big as you or as small as you want to. There are directions for 3 different shapes of shawl. So there's the very classic triangular shape. There's a more elongated triangle, which is more like a scarf. And then there's also some directions where you can combine the two to make an asymmetrical shawl. I'm going to go for the long sort of scarf, like shallow triangle option. And I'm going to use my Cambrian yarns. So my first task of the day will be to wind up all of my yarn and to figure out some meterages. I'm not going to put these through my yarn counter. I'm just going to do the very simple method of measuring these skeins by laying them out on the floor with my tape measure and doing a rough calculation. That's all I need. For the neck warmer recipe, I basically just need to make sure I'm keeping a track of where my halfway point is. To do my easy measuring, I literally just lay my skein of hand spun out, put a tape measure next to it. I tend to measure the inside loop because that means I'm underestimating rather than overestimating the amount of meters that I've got. I count the loops in the braid and then of course double that measurement to get my meterage for each skein. Once that's done, of course, I can sit down and get to winding up the yarn, and of course I repeat that process for each of my handspun yarns, and I've been making a little note on my phone just to help me roughly calculate the halfway point. For before long I had all of my yarns wound up and I'm ready to cast on. So I decided to cast on with a 4.5mm needle, but it wasn't long before I realised that the fabric that this was giving me was a little bit too dense. So I switched up to a 5mm needle, and I don't know how well you'll be able to tell on the video here, but the last few rows are knit in the 5mm needle. I think you might be able to see that the garter ridges are spread apart slightly more. It's given me a little bit of a less dense fabric, so I decided to go with the 5mm needle. At this stage I decided I wasn't going to bother to rip out what I'd already knit because it was only a few rows at the start, so I just continued to work on through the first colour in my handspun. James very kindly provided me with a bacon and mushroom roll to keep me sustained through my knitting. I just had to share this footage of you. I think I've shared with you before her love of these knitted mice that she's got, but this just cracked me up. She's always hanging out over there where they kind of live on the floor. I gather them up at the beginning of every day, and then I usually come down in the morning and they're spread out all around. In this little shot she looks like a queen surrounded by her subjects. Anyway, I decided after a while that my 5mm needles were still giving me too dense fabric, so I'm ripping this project back again. And then at this point I kind of forget to take any more footage. So here's Newt snuggled up in all of the yarn, and I decided to end my day with a book in the bath because I was hoping that a little bit of a a hot bath would help me shift my cold. I'm reading Bookshops and Bone Dust, which I can highly recommend if you like cosy fantasy. Before I get into today's video, I have realised this is going to be the first video that goes up in February. So the cast on portion of our make along has now finished. So just a little bit of admin. If you do want to go into the prize draw for the cast on part of the make along, then please do make sure that you've popped photos of your projects either on Instagram or on Ravelry. I'm going to do a roundup video after I've finished editing the rest of my cast ons, which should happen this week some point. So yeah, if you want to go into the prize draw, I'll be doing the prize draw as part of that wrap up video. So yeah, please do make sure that your photographs are either on Ravelry, on Instagram, or you've emailed them to me. If you're using email because you're not a social media user, then the email is YarnNYarns@yahoo.com. A few people have asked me about that one recently. Right, so me and the cozy canvas neck warmer, or should I say the cozy canvas neck warmer and I, what's proper grammar? Probably that second one. We have had some adventures. So before I get into that, I am going to, of course, catch you up with some of the cast ons that have been happening in our community. Although the cast on portion of our make along is over, I am still several videos behind in terms of capturing everyone's cast ons. So I think I'll have cast ons to mention in my last few videos. It's the 2nd of February as I'm recording this last bit of this video. The Hopeful Heliophile has finished all 12 cast ons, so thank you so much for joining in with all 12, and their final cast on was the Cloudburst Mitts. Shelley has also cast on 12 projects, including 4 pairs of mittens, which are 1 cast on, socks which have been finished, the Polka Cats pullover, the Glow Hair Frost shawl, Scattering Petals cowl, the Fossil Frenzy cowl, which has also been finished, the Vestby cowl, which is also finished, 2 Maxine hot water bottle covers, a cocktail umbrella cowl finished, a Thoughtful cowl, 2 pairs of DK mittens finished, and the Lake of Destiny shawl. I think it's Lake of Destiny, I can't read my own writing, but that's just so amazing, Shelley, and loads of finished objects as well, which is brilliant. Louise has also cast on all 12 projects now, and the last few were scrappy socks, a blanket, a cowl and a scrub bucket. Corrie said that she frogged an old sweater and started a new sweater with the yarn, and it's the Life is Cozy sweater. Barbara has cast on her first ever pair of socks. That's amazing, Barbara. I hope you're getting on well with those. She's also started a crochet hoodie vest. Deborah has started an Avery cardigan and a Door sweater, an Astibe cardigan and a Staffin cardigan. Tonya has started a Which Way Filet baby blanket and some scrunchies. Jane has started a colourwork cuffs, the January socks for the Colourwork Cuff Club. Nitty781 has started a shawl. Menuet has started a self-designed hat, which she's also finished. A Caleb the Crab, which has also been finished. A pouch for her passport because she's going to do some travelling soon, which I love that, what a great idea. Also beginning her first sweater, which is the Perfect Knit t-shirt, so good luck with that. I hope you're getting on well with your first sweater project. Beverly has started a curlew hat, a cobweb shawl and some hand spun hearts. Lee has started and finished some dishcloths, a hitchhiker, a hill braid shawl, I can't read my own handwriting, a Sophie shawl, a gnome and a blanket. Sonnenblumen Imp has started some socks for charity and a pair of socks for her gran, who is 92 and is very knit worthy. And finally for this video, Alexandra has said that this knit along has kickstarted her knitting mojo again, which was missing in action, and she's been casting on lots of small and scrappy projects just using some things that she's got in stash. So I love that. I love that this make along and all of the cast ons that you have all been doing and I have been sharing has helped to kickstart some knitting mojo for some folks who had lost theirs. So yeah, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that, Alexandra. In terms of my cozy canvas neck warmer, I managed to knit the first ball of my hand spun yarn, and although this is not the most even of yarns that I've ever spun, I really love how it's knitting up. I love the mild effect and I love the sort of subtle shift in the orange colours as dyed in that Cambrian fibre by Hilltop Cloud. The thing that I still don't love is the fabric. On that day I cast on, which was probably 2 weeks ago now, I probably had no business doing anything. I was really not well. As might have come across in the video. My head was just so woolly with that cold virus thing that my partner James kindly shared with me. My thinking head just was not working. I am going to rip all of this out and I'm going to go up another needle size. I think I changed the needle size like 3 or 4 times in that video. I've lost track now. And this final one that I'm on is a 6.5, but it's still not quite right. It's still not quite right. This is still a little bit denser than I would like it to be. When I put my logical thinking head on, a lot of shawls I knit are in 4-ply yarn. This one happens to be a handspun shawl, and it's the Storm shawl by Joji Locatelli, which is my favourite one skein shawl. I need to knit another one of these because I wear this one all the time. This was knit with some fibre that I spun. It was an Ashford fibre blend. Anyway, I'm digressing. When I knit, or when most of us knit, a shawl on 4-ply, when you compare the recommended needle size might be, so for instance, if you're knitting socks, you want them to be fairly dense, sturdy. You're knitting probably on a size or 2 smaller than the recommended needle size. For shawls, you're knitting several sizes up from the recommended needle size. And I didn't really think about that as much as I should have. Given this is comfortably a DK in most places, verging on worsted to Aran maybe in other places, I really should have thought my needle size choice through a bit more. On the plus side, I only did like a couple of hours knitting and I managed to work through the first ball. So this is going to work up really quickly. I'm still sticking with it. There's nothing wrong with the pattern. There's nothing wrong with the yarn. It's just me and my needle choice. There's still a little bit of playing around to go. I'm tempted to bypass 7mm and go straight up to an 8 and see what kind of fabric that gives me. Obviously I want something fairly loose and drapey. I don't want anything that's going to be like standing to attention around my neck. But the other thing I'm going to need to bear in mind is the variations in thickness between my handspun yarns. And I think, if you remember, there are several different colours of this, and I think the lightest one, the grey one, is a little bit finer than the rest, even though I spun them at the same time. So I may have to maybe juggle my needle sizes depending on which ball of yarn I'm using. It's going to be a real adventure, whatever way I go. I'm going to be ripping back this work. I wanted to show you that I'd done it. I love this pattern. I love the cute little eyelet details down the side. Mars has done a really great job at taking something and making it very customizable for the yarn that you have. So yeah, I can highly recommend the pattern. More work to go on that one when I next return to it. That is everything, I think, for this video. So time to wrap up today. Thank you so much for watching. I feel like the cast-ons are going on forever. It's probably because they are. It's taken me so long to get through all of the editing. It's a lot of work, especially this style where I'm putting together several different clips, adding music, adding voiceovers, stuff like that. It all adds up and takes time, which is fine, but that's my explanation for why these videos are drawn out. Hopefully you'll bear with me through the final few. If you didn't on the last video, let me know what your final couple of projects were, if you have been casting on right up until the end of January. If you finished your cast-ons, of course, let me know what you have been working on, which projects that you started have you been drawn back to working on first, and just generally let me know what you've been working on. If you haven't joined in with the 12 cast-ons, just let me know what has been making your creative heart happy recently. I love to hear all about your projects and to chat with you in the comments below. And I do try to respond to everyone, even though I am behind. I will catch up eventually. I shall be back again soon with some more making content. Next video should be day 10, I think, of the cast-ons. I've lost track now which day I'm on. So I hope you will join me for that one. Yeah, day 10 I think it is, and there's some crochet coming up for a change. So yeah, that one will be up next, so I hope you will join me for that one. But until we do get to spend time together again, I hope you get to do some other things that you enjoy. Great big woolly hugs to you all. Bye for now. Bye.